Hey guys, my name is Marc and we are eating Tuscany. Welcome to this episode where we're going to be cooking a pork dish called arista, one of the quintessential Tuscan recipes of pork. Beautiful pork loin, very simple, very elegant. We're also going to be doing a dessert of panna cotta. Very simple, 3 ingredients and you're done. So please join us as we explore the regions of Tuscany on this episode of Eating Tuscany. All right, so we are cooking panna cotta today, one of my favorite desserts and something so simple, so underutilized. I feel like everybody should be doing it. It's great for the kids. It's great for prep ahead of time. And it's super simple, only really 3 ingredients. Here we're making a buttermilk panna cotta with strawberries and pistachios. I really enjoy the combination of the buttermilk and the strawberries. With the tang of the buttermilk and the sweetness of the strawberries, it goes really well. The only thing that's complicated is the gelatin, but that's super simple, super easy. So let's dive right into it. We have some cream, buttermilk, sugar, gelatin. All right, we're gonna heat that up. We're gonna take our cream and our sugar. So we're gonna put this on a low heat. We're just gonna give it a quick stir. Now here, if you wanted to add some vanilla or any other flavorings you wanted, some lemon zest or orange zest or anything else, you would add it here. All right, we're gonna bring that up to a boil. All right, in the meantime, we're gonna bloom our gelatin. Now, one thing to remember with gelatin is that cold blooms, hot melts. So we're gonna add that to our water. This is cold water. We're gonna stir it once, and it's gonna get nice and thick and bloom for us. We're gonna set that aside. While we're doing that, we're going to start to de-stem our strawberries that I've cleaned already. All right. One of the things that we could do with this recipe in season is getting some rhubarb, beautiful rhubarb that's in season. Go to your local farmer's market, pick up some rhubarb. It is absolutely spectacular this time of year in the spring. These are going to, these have been washed already, and we're going to chop these up. Our cream has boiled. We're going to add our gelatin now. Okay, we're going to give it a stir to melt. Okay, again, super simple, super easy. You could do this for your kids. Do it in the morning and you have your kids eat it when they come home from school. Once the gelatin has been incorporated, we're gonna take that off the heat. We're gonna add in our buttermilk, okay? Just gonna give that a quick little stir. We're gonna put it in our Pyrex bowl. Okay. We're gonna get our ramekins here. Now I'm using these ramekins. You can use any other ramekins you'd like. All right. We're just gonna pour them in. Super simple, super easy. You can make this ahead of time. You can make a day of ahead of time. All right. Okay, we're gonna bring this to the refrigerator and we'll be right back. All right, so we made our super simple panna cotta. We put it in the fridge. It's gonna set. While it's setting, we're going to make our strawberry compote, okay? So we're going to chop our strawberries. Oop, one got away. Come back here. So it's springtime here, so rhubarb is aplenty in the markets. One of the things I like to do is go down to the market, the green market, and go shopping for the day. Picking up rhubarb, I think, is a very underutilized vegetable. Something so simple. and it would be a great addition to this recipe. It'll be super easy to put in. Here we're gonna add, it's about 2 cups of strawberries. All right, and then we're gonna add some sugar. It's about a half cup of sugar. And we're gonna let that work in the pan. We're gonna let that marry. We're gonna let the sugar melt and really draw out that juice from the strawberries. And it's gonna become a nice liquid. We're gonna strain it, and then we're gonna reduce down the liquid to make a little glaze on it. While we're doing that, we're just gonna chop some of these pistachios. These pistachios we've blanched and roasted. Okay, so we're just throwing it in the oven, 350 for about 3 minutes until they get nice and toasty. All right, really brings out the flavor of the pistachios. All right, and we're just gonna chop up a little bit. If you have a food processor, this would be simpler. You could always do it by hand though, unless you didn't want to bring it out. All right, so, and we're going to check on our strawberries. The sugar is starting to melt. Here, if you're adding the rhubarb, you can add the rhubarb in. If you want to add a little lemon zest, you can add a little lemon zest. If you wanted to add a little lime zest, you can add a little lime zest. If you wanted to add a little liquor, you could add a little liquor. Whatever you wanted, you can add in here. And then it would certainly help. Here we're only doing strawberries, but you could certainly add in anything else you wanted. And we're going to get this in a bowl, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, welcome back. We're cooking Tuscan today, and we've made the panna cotta already. Now we're on to, I think, the quintessential Tuscan dish, arista. Now, this is pork loin, all right? This recipe dates back to the medieval times of the Medici family. I think it's one of the best Tuscan recipes you can make. It's super simple, super easy, only a few ingredients, and it's something that you can make and your family would love it. So we have our pork loin here. All right, we're gonna take some rosemary and just take off the leaves, okay? Just 2 or 3 sprigs. This is about 1 pound to 1.5 pounds of a pork loin. All right, we are going to just chop up some rosemary here on our nice chopping block. Now to that, we're gonna add a little bit of garlic. Okay, about a tablespoon of garlic. And we're just gonna mince everything together. Okay, so we're gonna make like a little paste with it. And then to that, we are going to rub our pork loin. We have a little bit of olive oil here, extra virgin. This is what I would consider like a utility extra virgin olive oil. And I think that if you're over a certain age, you should have a utility olive oil and a finishing olive oil. And we'll get into that later. But I think everybody should have those two. Spend a little bit of money. It'll be a little bit extra, but it's totally worth it. All right, so we are gonna rub our pork loin with that mixture. Okay, get it nice and coated. Now to that, we're going to salt and pepper. Now you're gonna want to do this liberally. Don't be too scared of salt and pepper on this because there's no salt and pepper on the inside, all right? Now we're going to add something a little special, fennel pollen, okay? This is what comes off of the fennel flowers, okay? If you ever seen a fennel flower, it looks like a little firework, all right? And then they take those and they shake off the fennel pollen. It's super fragrant, okay? Super anisey, super nice. It adds such a dimension to your pork loin. It's relatively inexpensive, especially if you buy it from one of those internet places you can get delivered. I'm not gonna say where, but you can get it. It's totally worth it. It totally makes your pork loin pop, okay? It's those little things that are going to set that apart from other people's. Okay, so we're gonna add a little bit of oil to the pan. We're gonna heat this up. Now, while we're doing that, we are going to put this back on the plate so we can wash our cutting board and get ready for the potatoes. All right, guys, so we are continuing with the arista, one of my favorite Tuscan dishes of all time. We've finally got the pan nice and hot. You can see it's smoking a little bit. We're gonna add our pork loin to that. And if it doesn't fit, just move it on in a little bit. Okay. We're gonna sear that on one side and then flip it, and we're gonna throw it into a 350-degree preheated oven, all right? So this is cast iron, wonderful choice. Sears very well, all right? Now we're gonna throw that into our preheated oven. And we're at 350, all right? So now we're gonna move on to our side dishes. Here we have, as I mentioned, it's spring, so we have some beautiful asparagus, okay? Go to support your local green market, support your farmers. These are very small, so we don't have to blanch them. They'll be very quick. We are just going to heat a little bit of olive oil in there, okay? We're gonna grab a knife. And with asparagus, right? When you chop it, when you bend it, the hard part is where you should cut it, okay? So we're just gonna cut these, very simple, all right? Discard those. Do the same for this one. Okay, discard. Okay, asparagus in. All right. We're gonna add a little bit of garlic. So we're gonna get those going a little bit. Okay. We're gonna turn that down to a medium heat. Okay, it's gonna take not too much time. Microplane, very important, very, I think, underutilized home kitchen utensil. But in my kitchen, in the commercial kitchen, something we use daily. Okay, asparagus, lemon, wonderful flavor combination. It really brings out the pop of the asparagus, especially when you get nice spring asparagus. Now we're gonna salt and pepper. Again, don't be afraid of the salt and pepper, okay? Because, as you know, when you buy asparagus, it doesn't come with any salt and pepper. All right, we're gonna add a little bit of garlic to that. Now, if you see your asparagus starting to get a little color or do something you don't like, add a little bit of water, okay? Just a little bit, just a touch. It'll help it steam and it'll help it cook a little faster, all right? We're gonna move this over here and we're gonna bring our other pan over. Now, potatoes. Look at these cute little potatoes. We're gonna smash these, okay? Very simple, fun. What you're gonna do is you're gonna bring out the inside of the potato, all right? And when it cooks, you're gonna get that nice crispy edge to it, all right? Something that everybody loves. Everybody loves crispy potatoes, so why not give them more of what they like? Your kids will thank you, I guarantee it. To our skillet, we're gonna add a little bit more extra virgin olive oil, okay? And we're gonna let that come up to heat. We're gonna let it come up till it starts to smoke, all right? We don't wanna put our potatoes in cold, because if it does, it'll stick, and that's not gonna be good. Because we wanna get a good sear on the outsides, okay? We are just gonna get some of this rosemary. I can't think of anything more, I think, quintessential to Tuscan cooking than rosemary and garlic. One of the things I love about Tuscan cooking is the absolute ingredient drivenness of it. The way it's seasonality, the way just the Tuscan mindset is. It's just wonderful. Okay, so we have this. This is going a little bit. Let's see if we can get it going a little bit more. Once you start to see, it's called legs, okay? Legs in the oil, all right? It kind of drips. That's when you know it's getting hot. We're gonna add our potatoes, and as you can hear, it's nice and hot, okay? We're really gonna get that nice not caramelization, but crusty of the potatoes, okay? And this is something, again, so simple, so easy to do, but it makes such a great potato, okay? And as you can see here, our asparagus is almost done, okay? It still kept its color, and that's important because you don't want that like brown, overcooked asparagus, especially during spring when asparagus is so abundant, so fresh. this is cooking, we're gonna add a little bit of salt, fresh black pepper, now here's a good time to always, if you need to add a little bit more oil, if you want to add butter to it. So our asparagus is finished. Still a little crunchy, but it'll continue to cook. Okay, while it's off the heat, it's going to continue to cook. And now our potatoes are getting nice and brown. We're going to add a little bit of garlic to that. Okay. I add the garlic after the potatoes have nice and browned. You don't want to add them too soon because it'll burn. And you don't want that. Okay, we're going to add our rosemary to that. And the rosemary is going to infuse into that extra virgin olive oil and really bring out a nice aroma to it. Pork has been in the oven for about 10 minutes or so. We're going to check it. We're going to check it using one of these. Again, another underutilized home utensil that I think everybody should have is a thermometer, especially one that works. Get yourself a digital one. You can buy these pretty cheaply. That's how you're going to know if your pork is done, all right? We're going to check the pork and see where we're at with that, all right? Oh yeah, it's coming up nicely. I can tell already that it still needs a little bit more time just by the touch, but let's put a thermometer in there and see where we're at, okay? We want to pull it out at about 140. It's about 100 degrees, so it's going to need a little bit longer. Don't be afraid to check on your pork. Check on your stuff when you put it in the oven. It always helps. People always ask me, well, how do you know it's done? Well, you know it's done because you're going to check it and you're going to use the thermometer. That's how you're going to know it's done. All right. These are coming along nicely. Okay, as you can see, we're starting to get those nice crispy bits, and the aroma of the rosemary and the garlic starting to fill the kitchen. Such a beautiful flavor, such a beautiful time. Really reminds me of Tuscany, being in the mountains of Chianti. Speaking of which, a nice Chianti would go perfect with this, or a nice crisp Vermentino. All right, we're just gonna add a little bit more oil. All right, we're gonna keep those going. And while we're doing that, we're just gonna wash off our chopping block, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, so we got our potatoes nice and brown, as you can see. I've turned off the heat and just left it there. Now we're gonna make something which is a very versatile sauce. It's called the salsa verde, okay? I think everybody has something to that effect, all right? But Italians, Tuscany, we're gonna do parsley, capers, garlic, a little bit of red onion, a little lemon and lemon zest, okay? And a little bit extra virgin olive oil. Now, super simple. We're just gonna chop some parsley, okay? You don't want too much. You don't need too much. About a cup and a quarter chopped, okay? This is certainly something you can eyeball. You really don't need to measure. But some people need to have the measurements, about a cup and a quarter, okay? Now, don't throw away the stems because you can use them for something else. You can always freeze them if you want. All right, if you're making a stock, you can certainly use that. We're gonna add a little bit of minced garlic here, about a teaspoon, maybe a little bit more. Okay. We're gonna add some chopped onion, red onion, capers. Give a nice salinity to the dish, okay? And we're just gonna take a little bit of that brine and add it to this mixture here. What that's gonna do is, again, add a little salinity, add a little bit of the caper flavor, okay? Now, we're just gonna give these a chop. Bring those in, okay? Capers in. Microplane. Again, cheap. Buy one, Amazon. Okay, so we're gonna add a little bit of lemon zest. A little bit of lemon juice. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing with this one. We're gonna take out the bits. So, lemon zest, lemon juice, capers, parsley. Okay. To that, we're gonna stir that up. We're gonna add a little bit of salt, pepper. Again, don't be afraid of seasoning. Okay, I think seasoning is something that everybody is always afraid of. Oh, am I adding too much? Am I adding too little? Taste as you go. That way you'll know, and you'll realize how much you're missing when you taste it. It's always surprising to me how, especially new cooks, when I get in the kitchen and they say, you got to taste as you're going, you know? You got to taste and you got to build flavor. All right, so that's it. That's the salsa verde, okay? And that's gonna go, and it's gonna add, when you get the pork and the fattiness of the pork, it's gonna offset that a little bit, give balance, give a nice mouthfeel to it. Oh, and I almost forgot, we're gonna add a little bit of our fennel pollen to it. Give that continuality to it, that nice aroma, okay? Now, let's clean our board here. Let's see where we're at with that pork loin. Okay. She's coming along very nice. All right, let's get our old thermometer out. Okay, we still need a little bit of time. All right. Okay, while that's in the oven, we're going to just clean up our little workstation here. Always clean up as you go, right? You don't want to develop too much of a mess. All right, so we're going to clean that up, and we'll be right back once the pork loin is done. All right, welcome back, everybody. We are finishing up the arista, our quintessential Tuscan pork dish. So we just took it out of the oven. We've checked the temperature with our thermometer, and we're at about 145 degrees. So we're at a nice medium. We're gonna let it rest. Now we've let this rest for about 5 to 10 minutes. All that moisture is gonna come back out from the center and really just permeate through the pork loin. So we have our platter here, okay? We are going to add our asparagus, all right? So when you plate, make sure you plate with purpose, all right? So asparagus here, okay? But it really, all that crunchy goodness there, okay? Especially with the rosemary and the garlic. Now, we have our beautiful dish. We're gonna grab our pork. Okay. So, pork loin, as you can see, 350 degrees, 375. Not too high. I didn't burn the herbs, which will give it a little bitterness, and especially that fennel pollen, okay? So we're gonna cut on the bias here. Okay, look at that. Look at that, beautiful. Okay, nice and medium, still moist, okay? Oh man, this is so beautiful. All right, so we have our platter here. We're cooking at home, so we're just gonna scoop this up, right? And throw that right down the middle. All right, we're gonna open that up a little bit. Okay, just spread that out. Just gonna wipe that up. We don't wanna leave a mess on the cutting board, okay? Now, that salsa verde. Salsa verde, such a simple, okay, but gives a little pop, right, with that lemon. Okay, a little bit of the salinity with the capers. Oh man, look at that. That is so beautiful. And then we have a little bit of continuality with it with the fennel pollen, right? Now, I mentioned before, everybody over the age of 30 should have a good finishing oil. I don't care. I'm gonna say it, I might get a little hate for it, but I think everybody should have a little bit of finishing oil, okay? Now, we're just gonna finish this. This is a Tuscan olive oil, okay? It is from Tuscany, 100% grown, estate grown. Okay, I've been to this vineyard, beautiful vineyard. Okay, now we're going to add a little bit of salt to that. So, look at that, how beautiful that is. When your kids come home to that, they're gonna love that. And now we're gonna go on to dessert, and we're gonna finish the dessert. All right, guys, welcome back. We've made our arista. We've made the main course. Now we're back on dessert. We made the panna cotta. We've put it in the fridge and we let it set for a few hours. that was simple, very elegant. This is the dessert that is so easy to make. Again, I feel like it's so underutilized that you can make it ahead of time, make it for your children. But you can also, if you didn't want to use buttermilk, you could use chocolate, lavender, lemon, anything you want. So we are going to add our strawberries, okay, to this. All right. I'm using strawberries because they're in season now. You can use whatever you want, peaches, raspberries, blueberries, all the berries, one of the berries. Now I've reduced it down with the syrup. Now we're gonna add classic combination, pistachios, strawberries, okay? And that's it. How simple is that? How elegant is that? Such a beautiful dessert. Such a nice little pudding cup for your kids when they come home, and it's just wonderful. Thank you for joining us today. We've cooked the quintessential Tuscan dish of arista, a roasted pork loin that we finished with some asparagus and roasted potatoes. And for dessert, we've made our panna cotta with strawberries and pistachios. My name is Marc Texera. This is Eating Tuscany. Please share, like, comment in the section below, and also find me on Instagram at Chef Marc Texera. Thank you.